I actually spoke to an old client of mine, an old friend, who's one of the world's great macro thinkers, this Italian count, and he said, "Listen, Raoul, the trend of the last 50 years was superstates, the EU, the United States of America." He said, "Usually those things end up separating again. Don't forget, we disbanded the British Empire. That was gigantic. And yes, there was some pretty ugly stuff that happened, like what happened in India when we kind of gave back the keys and everybody killed each other in the partitioning. It was ugly, but it did happen over time. So I don't know. I think the trend is not going to go away unless we somehow change this economic equation, because that's what's driving it."
It seems like the world is in disarray. The economy isn't working for the average person, gas prices are skyrocketing, food costs are soaring, and the cost of living in the West has reached unprecedented levels. The debt crisis is real, and it looks like the elderly will bear the brunt, as their Social Security, which they've paid into their entire lives, is on track to go bankrupt. So, how can we combat the rising prices of goods and services? The clear answer is crypto, especially Bitcoin. But who came up with such a brilliant solution to this massive problem? According to macro analyst Raoul Pal, he believes the government may be behind this extraordinary invention. In an interview with Tom Bilyeu, Raoul shared his insights on Bitcoin's history, the societal challenges we face, and what the future holds. Raoul mentioned he always suspected that Satoshi Nakamoto could be linked to the government, as the solution was almost too perfect. However, he emphasizes the need for a responsible transition to cryptocurrency. He believes the government is moving slowly because fiat currency is still essential for paying debts and expenses. Raoul also thinks that if everyone fully understood the power of crypto, there would be a run on the banks, causing the banking system as we know it to collapse. Let's dive into what Raoul has to say. Before we continue with the rest of the video, do check out Daily 5-Minute Crypto Newsletter with all the latest crypto and Bitcoin news. It's a fantastic analysis of on-chain crypto data and breakdowns, and the best part is it's absolutely free. They'll cover expert predictions, breakdowns of on-chain crypto data, and any breaking news you need to know, all in a nutshell. Click the first link in the description and enter your email to join over 50,000 others in becoming a better crypto investor right now.
My argument has been, you can't do this at once. Anybody who does this wants the end of the world. It has to happen as a glide path. And over time, the crypto side of the equation, the new rails for the system, can experiment, get itself sorted out, figured out, and then we can go. So I spoke to the Department of Defense about this in 2014, 13. And I said, they periodically, reach out to people like me, thinkers about stuff who are looking at crises and stuff like that, because their job is to assess risk. And I was talking to them about it, and I said, obviously, he said, we're worried about debt, we're worried about the system blowing up. I said, yes, obviously, everybody is, because that's one of the things they need to game out. What happens if the West loses control of money and debt and everything else? And I said, well, I think the answer's there, and I think it's Bitcoin. And he said, yeah, well, tell me more. I said, and I think the US government and the UK government invented it, which is the NSA and the GCHQ in the UK, who are the two world centers of cryptography. And I asked the Department of Defense, they said, yeah, we've considered that too. That they seeded.
Do you think it was official, or it was just people from that went rogue?
I don't think it's necessarily a rogueness. I think like Google have like Google X, where they do tons of experiments, right? They know that one of the esoteric risks for the entire Western system is the issue of money. So there's probably groups of people who are given things to try. And if you can seed a new system, maybe they tried 100 of these and just one succeeded. We don't know. But it would make sense because that's what they do, this kind of stuff. So one of these took off. And so I think it's always been. I don't think it's a coincidence it came out of the financial crisis. I don't think it's a coincidence that the halving cycle and all of this is all related. It is the solution. It always has been the solution. You just can't go there tomorrow. So all you need to do is let it happen slowly and manage that transition. You'll be okay. There'll be times where it speeds up because we've got something bad going on, and there's times when it slows down. But and that's what I think the US government regulation is trying to do. They don't want to ban crypto. Just slow this down. Because if all the deposits leave the banking system, it's game over. if they don't set up a way of collecting taxes because everybody's living in crypto land and they have to ask your honesty in what trades you've done, that's not going to work for them because they can't pay the bills. So I think they're trying to catch up. I think that the UK will have a CBDC. I think the Europeans will. It's all coming relatively soon, next 5 years, 3 years, 4 years. And they'll feel more in control of the system that they've got because they need to pay the interest payments. Because if not, and the benefits, the aging benefits, all of this social security is a problem with such an old population.
As Raoul Pal explained, cryptocurrency offers a solution to many of the challenges we face in a fiat-based economy. He goes on to break down, step by step, exactly what's happening and what's on the horizon. Raoul highlights the stress on the current banking system and suggests that, when the time is right, the government will step in with their magic money to address the economic issues. He urges us to be prepared for what's coming. Let's continue listening to Raoul's insights.
So, feels that we're in the kind of summer phase of, we know it's bad, but nothing extra is happening. But meanwhile, the deposits keep leaving the system because the Fed are whistling past the graveyard going, la, 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 I can't hear you. The problem is interest rates are too damn high, which is the same problem I said. They need basically to go back to zero again. And it's leaving the system. So there's two phases of this. One is the banks will start getting worse again. We'll see use the KRE ETF, which is the regional bank ETF. It's easy. You can look at that, get it on Yahoo Finance, wherever. You see the price of it going down. That's telling you it's kicking off again. And the outcome will be to keep bailing out these banks, whether they force them into mergers, which was how the banking crisis in 2008 started. And then eventually it's like, shit, we need to give money and sort this out. So we will see that. We know that the banking system can't go to a full-blown reset because we've already had that. I think it'll bring down one of the big banks before it gets really serious. And which one is that? I don't know. Bank of America, something like that. Their share price doesn't look great, the structure of it. But in the end, the Federal Reserve will come with their magic illusion bullet, the magic money. And that magic money will solve all of this, and we will all get mutualized because the asset prices will go up and we won't own enough of them and we will get poorer. So that is coming. The commercial real estate, so the quick one is the deposit flight. The Fed needs to cut rates. The yield curve, which is the value of money in the future, of interest rates in the future, has to be higher than currently. It's the opposite right now. So that needs to happen. And then in 2024 and 2025, it'll all be about the commercial real estate. Because all of these, like Real Vision has offices in New York for 65 people and 3 people go to the office. The moment we can get out of our lease, we'll get out of our lease, as is everybody. And all of this stuff's going to be empty. So I think that will all end up on the Fed balance sheet. So the banking crisis will continue. It'll make it harder for the average person to get a loan. And the Federal Reserve will see this as the economy goes into recession, and eventually they'll start cutting rates, and eventually the more cowbell comes back. And as I like to say, it is written.
What are your thoughts on Raoul's perspective? When do you think Bitcoin will surpass the fiat system? Do you believe the government could have been behind the invention of Bitcoin? For more Daily Dose crypto news, check out these 2 awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.